Hello, everybody. This is Brady Cameron here, and I'm very glad to be here with you today. And I really want to take the time to thank you for dropping by, listening to this webinar, and listening to the information that I'm going to be teaching you today. Now, primarily, this webinar today is going to be about your emotional control, both in the moment of the emotion and long-term management of your emotions, which is a very important thing to learn. And unfortunately, not many people really know how to do it. And that cripples them in their life and in their goals and happiness tremendously. Now, the Initiate Personality Infusion course is the 8-week Initiate Mental Self-Defense formula where you will use your personality with two very special and unique procedures to naturally gain control of your mind. Take away your mind's ability to defeat you and allow you to win at building the life you want to live and become the person of power that you've always wanted to become. The personality infusion procedure and the direct learning technique is actually it's the secret to this incredible and simple success for everyone that I consult with and put through my course. When you can easily gain the power over your mind by controlling your emotions and managing your emotions for short and long-term accomplishment, happiness and success becomes a natural occurring asset for you every day of your life. Got to remember, the battle with our own mind is the biggest problem that we have and creates more obstacles within us than anyone or anything creates outside of us. So once you learn to manage your mind, the rest of it, as they say, is a piece of cake, or you're at least halfway there. Let's put it that way. Learn to manage your mind and control your mind and put a system with what you're trying to accomplish and what you're trying to do, and you've got the full spectrum now working for you. Two twin engines in the plane are both going at full power for you. Now, I understand some of you are probably going to say, well, that's a little easier to say than to do. However, as I'm going to prove to you today, it's not at all hard to do. It's very easy to do, and it only takes a little bit of time and effort for you to be able to do it. So, before we go any further, on my next slide, I'd like to give you my transparency notice for what I'm going to be doing today. Notice of my transparency, excuse me, in doing this webinar today. It is my intention to not to try to sell you a course or anything today. I am here to give you things for free and to teach you some things about a winning warrior mindset, which is actually a bonus that I'm giving you today because this is really, as I said, about managing and controlling your emotions. I will provide some space within my webinar for you to hear about my course and how to make yourself a free consultation should you be interested, but no price will be offered today. Now, special, if you stay to the end of the webinar and listen to everything, you will receive my initiate book, and it's the companion to the course that I use. You'll get that for free. It's called the Initiate once again. Then schedule a free consultation to see if my course is right for you. No cost at all. 25 mindset ideas for your success. And believe me, they're more than ideas. These are things you need to actually incorporate into your daily thinking, and it will create that superior mindset for you so that you can win in your life, your romance, relationships, personally and professionally, at your job, your company, if you own your own business, if you're an entrepreneur. It works all the way across the board because remember, as within is without. You don't do things on the outside really any different than how you do them on the inside from who you are and how you see yourself. And then you also get a free 40-page report. It's also full color that actually will give you more information about the benefits and results should you choose to make a consultation and actually move forward. Now, having said all that, let's do a short introduction about me just so you understand who I am and who's this guy talking to you on the webinar. Upon completion of your training, you will receive your black belt. I'm sorry I threw you off course a little bit, but I wanted to get this slide in right away because this slide is super duper important to you, because this isn't something that I marketed or advertised or anything, because I just don't feel like putting it out there like this. I want people who are serious. But if you decide to go through the training with me after we have a consultation to decide if we are right for each other, you'll get a black belt and a diploma and certificate in mental self-defense from me. You have learned and performed mental skills, tactics, procedures, and philosophy in mental self-defense. You now have self-confidence, a high self-image, the mental skills and know-how to create your life the way you want it, to bring about transformation for yourself. You won't be afraid of critics and self-judgments. You won't feel weak about yourself, and you will have a determined life purpose, and you will be able to achieve that purpose and make things happen. This black belt that I offer you at the end of the training, should you decide you would want to do the training after we speak on our consultation, this black belt is not one that's going to make you, or I'm saying that you're a tough person and you know all these fighting techniques and whatnot. No, the black belt to me represents something that's far beyond that. And what it represents to me is that you have a dedication, you have a persistence, you have a self-image of winning, and you want to win. And this black belt represents the course training and consultations that you went through, and the things that you had to do along the way, as I call the process, in order to achieve that black belt. So it represents your hard work, your persistence, your dedication, your commitment, and all the things you learned and went through during your experience. Now, as I promised you, let's move on to the next slide about me. My name is Brady Cameron, and the name of my company is the Mental Warrior Training Academy. I live in sunny and beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. My office number is 702-248-8501, or toll free at 1-877-248-8508. Now, as you can see, that's a very established number. I've had this number now, let me see. It's been about 11, 12 years I've had these same exact numbers. So been around quite a while doing this. I am a serial entrepreneur for 30 years. I am a personal and business development consultant and coach. I read and listen to 2 books a week, or a course and a book a week. Of course, there are seminars and workshops I attend like crazy. I spend a lot of time and money on my personal and professional education every single year, because honestly, I absolutely believe it's the best investment of all in yourself. There's nothing you could do better. I became a 10th degree black belt in martial arts several years ago. I belong to the same martial arts federation for 15 years in a row now. Whew, time flies. But I'll tell you this much, during that whole process of being involved in the martial arts for 35 years, here's my biggest lesson that I can offer you for free. It takes self-discipline and the commitment to process, whatever it may be, to make a personal and professional transformation. There's no way around it. You got to commit to the process and acquire some discipline in order to stick to the process to get through to your transformation, but it will happen. Powerlifter, amateur, extreme, translate that for you, gym rat. I have written and published 6 books to date on personal development, and several more are in the working. My newest book will be called The Material. I'm a father of 2. I try very hard to be a loving, teaching father. In fact, I built my life and career around my kids so that I can be there for them daily. And I'm absolutely dedicated to helping my clients reach their chosen life and getting them there, because I don't succeed if you do not succeed. So I want to make sure that you succeed too along the way. Having said all that, now you know a little bit about exactly who I am. Let's talk about your personality and some of the things that may get in your way. Today, lots of people are just bombarded with information. Actually, they call it information overload. We're just getting too much stimuli to come in, and we cannot process it all, and we're literally just drowning in information. And let's face it, the people who work at the marketing agencies and whatnot, they don't make it any easier because they're the ones primarily doing it to us. So what exactly is stopping us from reaching the type of success that we want? We're all smart people. We all know what we want, and so when you dig down to it, you really got to ask the question, what's stopping me from succeeding? And here's what I have found in my 35 years in the martial arts and my 25 years in consulting and coaching people about building their life or their business. Personality confusion is the problem today. I use two unique techniques that will expand and renew your current personality so that your personality is a natural alignment of what you desire to become and to have in your life. This is a real transformation because it happens from inside of you and then it manifests to the outside of you. Now, because you have what's called personality confusion resistance that we all have, we have we all get it at some point in our life, or we got it, or we're going to get it, or we get it off and on all the time. We're told to want this and to want that from people that are important to us, family and friends, and society tells us what they want and how they want us to do it. We have our own emotional reasons for what we want and, of course, why we want it. And soon our personalities indoctrinated with other desires, immediate gratifications, emotional wants, fears, and dreams. We're torn into many directions, and we get scatterbrained, and we become confused and do nothing but become frustrated. And when you become frustrated and you don't know how to move yourself out of that situation from being frustrated, what happens? You get overwhelmed. And when you get overwhelmed, well, you know what happens. You quit. You say you'll come back and do it, but you don't come back and do it. You just leave it alone. And then opportunities are lost because of you not coming back and doing what you were going to do because you got frustrated and overwhelmed and you quit. Which, hey, I get it. I've done it. Everyone does it. But we got to really, really stop that from happening so you can have the type of life that you really want. Now, on this next slide, I'm going to tell you exactly who my course is right for. Now, this highly specialized training formula, is it right for you? Quite frankly, it's not for everyone. About 15% of the population is right for this deeply in the mind course training. Ideally, you should already have at least some discipline in your life, and ideally, you already know you're meant for big things, but have not found the working formula yet in order to bring about the manifestation of your big things. You are willing to do more than others to master yourself and build your desired life. Now, look, first step, you already did that for yourself. You already established that you're willing to do more than others in order to get the life and the transformation that you want because you're here today on this webinar, and that does offer some proof of that. Now, what are you going to learn today? Here's what you will learn today for free: how to create a mental warrior's mindset, how to control your in the moment emotions and how to manage your emotions long term for success and happiness, and how to stop your inner fears from restricting your life. Now, remember, at the very beginning of this webinar, I told you about the 25 ideas about mental training, mindset training that I was going to give you. That's going to tie into this chapter for you, but you'll be able to sit down and read those 25 tips for you, which please put every one of them into your life. They will help you immediately if you adapt to them and use them with your own personality and see things through as it tells you to do. So now I get it. You got a little skepticism and you probably got a little bit of disbelief about things, and that's what this is going to cover. This new slide. Here's what myself and my clients understand your skepticisms or your disbelief you may be feeling right now in this very moment. Myself and my clients, like you, have felt the same way you do now, or, very close to it. However, what we found in each of our personal journeys through the course and through it to the end, found our future below to be very close to each other's and right on our own desires. Now, here's what you can expect from the special training in the near future if you were to make your consultation and we decide that we're right for each other. You will have a winning warrior mindset that provides the attitude that nothing is too big for you to manifest and to make happen in your life. You can do this. You will feel energized every day when you manage your emotions for long-term happiness and success and don't have to fake it for yourself or others because authentically you are happy and successful inside. If you have fears of new things that you want or need to do, you will have the confidence to blow right through your fears and take the strategic and intentional actions to succeed. That's a huge one. You will have a proven and personally accepted goal success formula that is right for you. You will select, decide, and achieve your personal goals. Now, it all boils down to this simple future fact of training. You will feel you are empowered to live where you want, gain the relationships that you want, both personally and professionally. You will live in the house you desire and drive the car you want, never be broke, and feel totally secure about your future because you have the training and mental skills to transform your life into any situation that you want to and from any situation that may be bothering you or kind of creating an obstacle in your way that won't happen for you. Now, here's something else that's a little touchy situation for some people, but again, I've got to say this. The next slide is going to talk to you about what happens if you don't train. Well, I think we already know the answer to that. If you don't train and make your transformation, what will you get in your future? Ask yourself this question. Has my life changed in the last year or 3 or even 5 as I wanted it to? Do you want to relive Groundhog Day every day, different day, but pretty much same thing? Repetition is hell, they say, and do you want to do the same things to get the same results? Look at everyone around you, and it is the same for them. Do you want to be there too with them now and in your future? You probably had enough of that already up to date and in your past. So it boils down to this. You don't live in the house you love or drive the car you love. You're in and out of relationships, always looking but never finding that meaningful relationship. You don't have mental or financial freedom and every dollar counts to you. And you still ask yourself, when will I get a break? You don't have confidence and you maybe feel like life has forgotten you and you live a lonely and perhaps even a very desperate life. Now, making the transformation is going to be the biggest thing you've ever done in your life. So let's talk about that for a moment. Here's where my life started. It was hard right off the bat for me, just like it was for so many other people, and probably even you. And you're sitting here listening to this right now. So I want to kind of tell you my life story quickly. I'm not going to bore you, but I just kind of want you to know where I started from and what I had to progress through in my life so you can understand that I have been through some stuff too, and I can guarantee you that you can transform out of it and you can make it if you follow the transformational process, which is not hard. So first of all, I was the product of my mother being raped at 17 years old by what would be my father, or who is my father. And it was quite, I mean, my mother was a very, very strong and powerful woman mentally. She was really determined that she was going to have me and give birth to me no matter what, because all of her family wanted her to abort me and get rid of me. And my mother was like, no, it's my child too, and my decision is to keep me. Now, that was for my mother, and that was my mother's decision. Okay. And I'm very happy that she made that decision. Now, my father wanted to kill me several times. Yes, he actually wanted to murder me. And in his crazy, drug induced, alcohol induced state of mind, he believed that if I was gone, my mother would want him. Now, don't try to figure that out because I've tried. There's no logical conclusion for that. Okay, and I never met my father. I never seen my father, and that's just fine with me. It's okay. So then what happened to me at around 3 years old? The left side of my brain died when I was about, I was about 2.5, 3 years old. I think it was closer to three. And I just started not being able to speak, and I was drooling all the time, and I was falling down. I was crying all the time. I mean, I was having a lot of hard problems, my mother said. And so finally, a couple of her brothers said, something isn't right about him. You need to take him to the hospital. I had had a fever prior to that, that they had a real problem with getting under control. For like a week, it was on and off, and it would spike really, really high, and they'd have problems getting it to come down. And so, there was so maybe possibly there was a correlation with that extremely high fever I had for so long, with the left side of the brain actually dying. However, the doctors told my mom and confirmed it when she took me to the hospital. The doctors gave her the tragic news that indeed the left side of my brain was dead, and that the word that they used back in 1968 approximately was that he's retarded, and so they said I'm going to be a special needs child. I'm always going to need my mother, so she's going to have to pretty much take care of me for the rest of our lives, her life and my life. And, could you imagine how painful that must have been to say she was probably about 20 years old at that time? I mean, what a devastating blow. But she was nonetheless determined. However, when she was getting ready to leave the hospital, another doctor had overheard the conversation that the other doctors were having with my mother, and he told her about a new trial medicine that was coming out. There was no guarantees, there was no absolutes, and he says, but at this point, what could it hurt? And he told my mother that the name of the drug was phenobarbital. So I ended up getting enrolled in this program, and I think I got like one shot a week for 12 weeks, I believe it was. And after the first month of my shots, my mother said my drooling stopped, my sentences and my words were becoming more coherent, and I was able to run around better than almost as good as I was prior to that situation. And I wasn't crying near as much, and I just seemed overall happier. And at the end of the entire treatment, the left side of my brain was tested. It had came back fully. It was operating normally and doing its thing like it was supposed to. And I was doing everything that I was supposed to do as a 3-year-old, and actually moved ahead a little bit from some of the benchmarks of other 3-year-olds. So doctors checked on me continuously for about 2 years, and they said everything was fine. It went great. So I'm glad I was really young for that. I didn't realize what was going on. I was bullied daily and beat up a lot as a young boy. Lots of guys used to, want to pick on me, probably because, I was fat and looked like Howdy Doody at that time, and so they just figured out, what, we're tired, we're bored, we're tired of doing other stuff, let's go beat Brady up. And that's pretty much what they did, and it happened around school, and it happened in my neighborhood too. I had a very verbally abusive stepfather. Now, don't get me wrong, it was a good man as far as he would work and take care of the family. And, he never made much money, but he worked every day, 12, 14, 16 hours a day. And however, just he knew my real father, my biological father, and there just seemed to be some real tension there between him and I, and it just never worked itself out. It just progressed and progressed and progressed until you know I'll explain to you in a little while what happened from that progression of him and I. I had two older boys who tried to drown me in White River in Indianapolis, and they were going to succeed. It was a very cold, very gray skied day because it was sometime late October, I think it was late October, November, and in Indianapolis things are already looking kind of ugly. So it was a very dreadful looking, dark, dreary day. And luckily for me, two men were going to a building that was set up on the hill of where White River was. And as they were walking down the sidewalk, they were able to see me in the water screaming. And so they actually rushed down the hill and came down there to help me get out of the river. And then, of course, the two guys who tried to drown me was acting like they too were trying to get me out of the river when they were the ones who did it. So I got rushed to the hospital. Doctors told my mother it did not look good, and there was a doctor who stayed with me and just kept working and working and working with me, and finally I came through and stabilized. I never got to meet that doctor, but if he's still alive, bless his heart, and if he's passed on, man, rest in peace, but know that your life made a difference to somebody else. Um, I lived on the streets for 12 months. Now, that was a result of my verbally abusive stepfather I talked about a little bit ago. It just boiled up to a head, and he and I just could not get along together. And because we could not get along together, it was just a situation that was driving my mother crazy, and she had already had three other kids by this man. So I was 16 approximately, and I said, you know what? This isn't worth all the problems that it's causing and stress and frustration for everybody involved. So I left, and I told my mom I'd keep in touch with her, and I told her that I had a place to stay, so don't worry about me. And I ended up living on the streets for approximately 12 months, and it was a very difficult time, especially in the wintertime. In Indianapolis, if you don't know much about the weather there in the Midwest, whew, you know, winters there are very hard, very cold. And so, a lot of times I could maybe stay at a shelter when I would get lucky. I could stay with some friends when I would get lucky. And a lot of times I slept under the bridge. Yeah, that was it. Under the bridge. So you had to eat, I would have to eat out of dumpsters and trash cans and, bum food from friends or try to do odds and end jobs for people to get money from them so that, I could buy some food and maybe some little essentials that I actually needed at that time. I mean, if you've never lived on the streets, let me tell you, it is a very, very, very extremely trying situation, and it's not something that I recommend that you do, and that you avoid it at all costs for yourself. Now, where do we go from here? Well, this is what I ran into. I got a job at a health club and learned to market and to sell. So, but now that should be qualified because at first I got a job at the health club working as their janitor at night when they closed, sweeping floors, vacuuming the rugs and carpets, and cleaning all the mirrors they had. Oh my God, this place was full with mirror after mirror, side by side each other, and they all had to be cleaned. Actually, physically, it was a very demanding job, but I was watching the salesman there, and I was like, man, and I would talk to him because I'd come in early, and I was like, what? I decided, I can do this. I can do what they're doing after watching them for a couple of weeks. And so, I went to the manager at that time. His name was George. And I told George, I said, hey, I would really like to have an opportunity to do exactly what these other guys are doing if you would allow me the opportunity to do it. And so he thought about it for a couple of days, and he came back and he says, well, here's what we're going to do. You have to continue cleaning the gym after hours, but I'm going to give you an opportunity to start doing what they're doing. It's going to be long hours, but if you want to do it, I'll give you a shot. And I said, absolutely. So this is where I actually begin to meet some of my life transforming mentors, men and women who would make a huge difference in my life because they would teach me about, you know, my personal responsibility. They would teach me about how my life is up to me and it is required by me to do the things that I need in order to achieve what I want. And they did not allow me for 1 minute to find out about my past or living on the streets or anything at that point in time that I had been through, because they said those are all crutches, excuse me, and these are just going to be excuses that you're going to give yourself later on to stop when the going gets tough, because you're going to say, oh, poor's me, look what happened to me, instead of going, oh, here's where I am now and there's where I want to go and I'm going to get there. So trial and error every day. I would fail, I would succeed. I would fail, I would succeed. I would fail, and succeed. So there's an old saying, well, it's not actually an old saying, there's a saying going on now called you fail forward. And that at that time is what I was actually doing without totally realizing it, but I was failing forward. Most people don't fail forward, they fall and they lay down and they don't get back up. Or if they do get back, they go back and start something else before they finish what they started. I ended up becoming the manager of a multi-million-dollar gym at about 18 years old, and I developed the marketing and selling systems. Now, I was able to do this because I got trained well where I was, but I went outside to other mentors. I read other books. I did other courses. I talked to other people, and trial and error every day. Well, this worked, but that didn't work. This worked, but that didn't work. And I just kept moving forward with my failures, learning from them, and my successes, and learning from them, and then learning from my complete environment from all around me. I co-owned my own marketing company with a partner at the time. And basically, what we did is that we went out and we helped health clubs get a lot more memberships than what it is that they currently had. And some of the health club owners were in real financial trouble, almost bankruptcy, and we would help pull them out of trouble and get them up to profit status by filling up their gym with lots and lots of good paying customers. Um, After that, I owned my own martial arts schools. I owned two of them in San Antonio. Everything went very well for me there. I became a marketing and selling consultant because, again, I was doing basically all the marketing and all the selling in my martial arts schools too. And my schools were very successful as compared to all the other schools around me and as compared to other schools that I had found in the industry. And I go, well, you know what? I must be doing something really, really right here, and I don't even realize how right that I'm doing it. So, upon a lot more investigation, I found out, and I became a marketing and selling consultant, and I expanded out of the health club business and the martial arts business, and I went into all types of businesses like accountants, attorneys, financial advisors, dental offices, chiropractors, and the list goes on and on. So I started writing personal development books, and I realized that personal and business development go hand in hand. I mean, there was no real difference between them, and how you are on the inside is how you're going to project and take actions on the outside. So that is exactly about where my life had turned around and made a huge, huge leap in the other direction for me. Now, at this time, I found success and happiness, and I developed a system to deliver it to others. My life became awesome by helping others succeed. It was enriching, it's rewarding, it's fulfilling to me. Work on yourself harder than anything else. That is the best advice I could ever give you, because if you work on yourself harder and transform yourself, you will have a magical effect on all the other things that you do or try to achieve, because it's coming from within you and you are ready and prepared for it. Develop the control and management of your emotions. Now, again, we're going to talk about that in today's webinar, because having development and management of your emotions is the biggest thing you could ever have, because it is truly what is going to decide your success level in your life and what is not going to become successful in your life, and what's not becoming successful in your life could have actually been successful had maybe you just did the work, found the right tools, the right system, because sometimes you can look at a person's life and see where their life is at by what they haven't done in their life more than what they have done in their life. It's kind of odd to think about that, but a mentor had explained that to me one time, and that might be another webinar, and I'll explain it then. But it was very unique, and it was very empowering actually. I wrote out my systematic process of success and that of my clients. So I not only paid attention to what I did, but I also paid attention to exactly what my clients were doing and how they were actually making their success and how they were coming around and how they were making uh, all of all of their happiness in their relationships and how they were gaining financial security and what exactly were these guys doing. And so and I compared notes, of course, and found a lot of common denominators. I love coaching my clients and watching their transformation. They become family to them. I mean, think about it. You can't go through 8 weeks of training with somebody and consulting on the phone with them at least once a week and go through a lot of these life changing forever transformations and not bond with them and become very, very close. Now, my system of delivery is the personality infusion technique and the direct learning formula are the secret that makes the simple integration of this course work for you so extremely easy. Now, the personality infusion techniques, it's a technique by itself. Now, what it does is that the personality infusion technique allows your natural personality to integrate with the training that you're receiving so that you do not create any mental resistance. If someone creates mental resistance for you while you're trying to learn something and while you're trying to go through a transformation, you're not going to go through that transformation because you're going to resist the information. And that's a particular problem because there could have been some valuable information inside of that information that you were mentally resisting. And because you resisted, didn't learn your lesson from it, some of these situations continue to manifest in your life because you keep recreating them because you're not seeing what you're doing and the system that you're using to do it with. And so you end up developing this personality that it's like, when am I going to get an opportunity? When will I get a break? Nothing ever works out for me. Or here's the big one. Why does this keep happening to me? Well, there's a system that you're using to do it. You got to break that system, and it's very simple to do. And that's why I use the personality infusion technique. And I developed that technique through about 15 years of training people in the martial arts and personal training. And when I really got down to the core of it, I thought to myself, what stops people from really making these transformations in their lives and their business? And the personality infusion technique is what I came up with, and I'm glad I did because it works every time. Direct learning technique is when I will teach you a philosophy and then give you a mental exercise or mental and physical exercise, nothing hard, and then you will actually do it. Now, a lot of people say that knowledge is power. I don't believe that's true. I believe that knowledge creates a knowingness about something. However, when you take that knowledge and you go through the process and learn from it, at that point in time, you have now gained wisdom. Wisdom is the real secret sauce of life. Wisdom is the ability to say, I've done it, I've been through it, I know the route, I know the terrain, I know the environment, I know what's required of me, and I know what creates the result. And I can keep making that result each and every time I want to because now I have the wisdom in order to do it. And to gain wisdom, you got to go through the experience. Now, the experiential nature of the mental exercise, they are just not philosophical soup. I want to be clear on that. They are experiential in their very nature. You can think about your favorite food, or you can actually eat your favorite food. Now, think about that. I don't know what your favorite food is, but just for a moment, if you would, um, Imagine that you're about to sit down and have your favorite food and really think about it. Really be there with it. If you do that, your mouth might start to water a little bit, and you get that great anticipation. Your body might even start tingling in your mind too, and in anticipation of that. However, when you actually sit down and you actually physically eat the meal that's your favorite food, there's a huge difference between eating that food and thinking about eating that food. The experience is incredibly different. Not even close in the same ball game. It's like, and sometimes experience is beyond words. And what I mean by that, think about this. Think about the time when you maybe had your first kiss and it was really special. And you're telling your friend about it, and your friend's like, well, explain to me what it was like. And you're like, you try to explain it, you're really trying hard, but the words just don't get there to match the experience. And sometimes that's the limit of communication, that we can't properly convey the power of something, the experience and the power together. We just cannot get there with words. And so people, we try to explain it, but we just cannot get there. Um, here's why I teach this course and why it's so important for me to do what it is that I continue to do in my life. 85% of the population is lost and looking for their way out of the rat race. If you have a regular job, you may think about your job that way yourself. You may not. You may have some coworkers who think about their job in that way. Don't want to come to work every day and don't want to do the same thing every day, and they call it the rat race. And so about 85% of the population looks at work in this manner, according to recent polls that have been taken. Now, I have a training course that has been battle tested relentlessly and provides the real results and insights people want and need for themselves. I love to teach people total transformation to them, for themselves and their lives, and I feel awesome every time. So, it's like I kind of like I get like a kind of a feeling like being high because it's so euphoric for me when I'm teaching people and they get it, and I see them get it and they make those changes and they start to succeed and transform. It's a wonderful feeling knowing that you help somebody do that. I build my family of people that I have personally went through real experiences with and bond with them. Hopefully you will help someone one day in their transformation for themselves, and maybe you might even choose to help many people make transformations by teaching a course, or maybe even teaching this course, or teaching some other course, and you see people transform their lives and you feel wonderful about that. Now, how do you actually go about creating a mental warrior mindset? Uh-oh, sorry about that one. Here's what you will learn today for free. My mistake. How to create a mental warrior mindset for your actual success, and I'm going to explain that to you next. How to control your in the moment emotions and how to manage your emotions long term for success and happiness, and how to defeat your fears. See, I'm human too. I made a little mistake on this slide right here, so see, it can happen to anybody. But you recover and you move forward, you acknowledge it, and you do better next time. And let that be a lesson to you today as well. Now, we're actually going to get into how to create a mental warrior mindset. And you know what? It's going to be a lot easier than what you think it is. You need to create the space for your mission, your reasons and your answers. Space created is a space filled. Believe and feel space. Now, let me explain to you what I'm talking about right there, okay? Many times, before you try to accomplish something in your life, you need to create the space in order to do that. Now, creating the space to achieve something in your life or to make a transformation means you might have to delete something in your life, if only for a short while. You might have to change the way that you do something in order to make time for the other something that you need to do, if only for a short while. However, there may possibly be a couple of things that you sacrifice for a short while in order to create the space so that you can put something else in there and actually achieve your transformations. Beliefs create reality, but beliefs also create what it is that you want to manifest. Remember, a belief creates as an outflow of energy from within you. So the belief creates inside that I can do this, and then you have the belief that you're looking at on the outside and you're saying, I believe that I can do that too. So your belief in what you can do and your belief in what you're going to do are congruent. There's no cognitive dissonance there. You are right on line, and you get yourself a straight line from one to the other. Warriors make the process about their gain to help their loved ones. Now, this means the purpose is more inclusive than just them, obviously. Yes, it is 100% okay to make your transformation and do the things that you do for you and make it be all about you. Absolutely 100% yes. However, what we have found out, and what I have found out, is that a lot of people, when they take something that they want to achieve for somebody else, or help somebody else, or make that type of participation in somebody else's life and show up the way they want to show up and show out the way that they want to show out, they include something else, like they include their mom and dad, or they include some other family or some friends, or maybe they have a favorite charity that they want to work for and that they want to make progress for, or maybe donate money to, or time, whatever it may be. So it's okay to make it 100% about you, and it's perfectly okay to attach somebody else or other people to the reasons why you want to make it. I have no problems, no issue with that at all. That's how I find most people succeed. Warriors prepare and know the goal of what must be obtained and are willing to learn the mental and or physical skills required of them for success. Now, what does that mean? Well, think about it. How many times have you started something that you were going to do or said you were going to do in the moment, and then you get burned out on it and you stopped, lost your motivation and quit because you found out it was harder than what you thought it was going to be? You thought, hey, I'm only doing this. How hard can it be? And you get involved in it and you go, oh my goodness, this is really hard, and so you stop on your success instead of doing what I'm going to talk about next, which is warriors take knowledge and turn it into real wisdom by going through the process. And this creates unbeatable confidence and self image and willing to go through it. If you've never seen a little animal named the honey badger, please Google the honey badger. Go to YouTube, put in the honey badger, and watch the tenacity and the resiliency of this little animal. He or she will not stop. It is amazing to watch them. They've even put them in at zoos, and zoos have tried to contain them, and they kept getting out. And the zookeeper was like, how in the heck did these guys keep getting out? So they put cameras up and they watched these little clever animals figure ways to get out of the zoo environment, out of their cage. They were stacking rocks up into corners. They were taking a rake and leaned a rake up against the corner, climbed up the rake and up the wall. They would stand on each other. They would climb out to a tree that had a branch that kind of hung over the wall. They would get down this way. And I mean, just it blows your mind to watch these little guys. They're so clever, but they're resilient. They will not stop until they figure out what to do and how to get to where it is that they want to get to. So Google the honey badger and see what you think about them. Now, we're going to talk about negative emotions. And I know this can be a sensitive area to a whole lot of people. I get that. However, it's something that we have got to do. So we're going to go into helping you with them emotions. Now, how to control your in the moment negative emotions. And your mental power was your superpower was your number one power. The power to control your in the moment emotions, that's number two. When negative emotions are not controlled, they are runaway winds of destruction. You are the eye of the hurricane, but your emotions are the winds. And your winds go out and do damage depending upon how chaotic, how upset, how mad and frustrated and angry you are in the moment. Now, you can vice versa that. Your winds that come from you can also be a powerful wind that goes out and helps people, helps the environment. Everybody wants to be around you then, but they don't really want to be around you too much when all those negative emotions are going, and you know that's true. So when you don't control your negative emotions in the moment, they can make a situation get worse without the need for it to. That's the big thing. If you've ever noticed, when one person gets mad and gets irate, other people start getting mad and getting irate. We start feeding off each other's energy, and everybody's emotions start getting involved, and pretty soon it's a very chaotic ball of energy going on, and people's feelings get hurt. Sometimes even people physically get hurt. Not worth it. When you have no emotional control and others see it and they feel it, they don't want to be around you. Think about something for a minute. Have you ever had someone that was around you quite a bit in the beginning, but then they quit coming around? Were you ever around somebody in the beginning and you quit going around because every time you went around, it was frustration, it was negativity, it was just an ugly energy to be around? So you're like, man, I don't want to be around that anymore. And so you didn't. You went on and you moved on in your life. And as I said, you probably noticed some people in your life who did that to you too. You wondered, hey, what happened? Now, it was those negative emotions that what happened. So what do we do to, gain some control of these emotions? This lovely lady here is Esther Sternberg. She is a physician, an author of several books on stress and healing, and researcher at the National Institute of Mental Health. She says rapid breathing is controlled by the sympathetic nerve system. It's part of our fight or flight response, the part activated by stress. Now, here's what I want you to envision, what I want you to imagine. Think about a time when you were really mad. I mean, either at somebody or at yourself or at a situation that happened. Now, really be there and feel it. And I mean, smell the smells, hear the sounds, feel the energy that was in you and all around you at the time, and see the person or the situation or the thing you were upset with at yourself, perhaps. When you feel your breath starting to increase and feel your emotion inside of you, begin feeling your breath come in and out of you. Focus on your breath in and out. So you're literally taking your attention and you're shifting all of your attention to your breath coming in your body, in your lungs, out your body, out your lungs. In your lungs, breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. And keep your attention on your breath coming in and out of you. Now, here's a second exercise you can do to help you with that. If you feel like you're just not quite getting it, you can do this as well. You can switch to counting your breath individually coming in and out of you. So you would breathe in, that's 1. Breathe out, count 2. Breathe in, count 3. Breathe in, breathe out, count 4. Breathe in, count 5. Breathe out, count 6. Now, you can also do it this way. If you just want to breathe in 1, breathe out 2, breathe in 1, breathe out 2, you can do that too. It makes the numbers a little more simpler. And some people actually prefer it that way, so that's why I mentioned it to you. So that way now you'll have 2 very simple and fast techniques that you can execute on the spot when you feel like, I'm getting mad. You know that feeling, and when it's coming on, we've all been there. There's no denying that. And remember, you cannot get upset and you cannot get mad if you focus on your breathing, because your breathing controls your sympathetic nervous system. And another reason for it is your mindful attention is on something else instead of allowing your attention just to go away and let the emotion take control of your mind. So this exercise absolutely will stop this. Now, What happens though if it goes past that point? Da, 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 da. Manage your emotions, superpower number 3. Why managing your emotions are the key to your success. Been a lot written about this. Been a lot said about this. Been little done about it. So, when you can manage your emotions, people want to deal with you. People want to be around you because they feel you have charisma. They feel you have power. They feel you have control of not only yourself, but of situations that you're in and may be participating with them as well. They feel like, okay, there's security here, there's comfort here, this person has got it going on, and they're very positive, they're very straightforward, and they just don't have all that negative emotions and flying off flying off the limb at everything and whatnot, and it makes them want to be there with you because you create this space of it's okay for you to come in and work with me or be friends with me or learn from me or hang out with me or do all that or do all of it. They like that feeling of energy. They like that type of person. So why do people not manage their emotions better? Well, think about it. We were never really taught how to manage our emotions in elementary or high school or college. We were, at best, we were always told, deal with it. All right. And a lot of people can't deal with it because in order to deal with it, you've got to have mental tools in order to know how to deal with it. What do I do? How do I do it? How do I create the result of not letting my emotions run away with me? And that's where emotional training comes in because it gives you those mental management tools to be able to do it, Johnny on the spot, as they say, okay, and actually take control of your emotions. Now, what happens though when you run into your long-term emotions? Because a lot of people don't realize that how you look at a situation, how you judge it, how you define it, label it, and proceed through it is going to be mainly determined by how you emotionally feel about what you got to do and by how you emotionally feel about the result of what you want to get and how important is it and how did you qualify it. So let's discuss that. First of all, we have this lovely lady here who's Amelia Adoa. She's PhD. And what she's going to do right now is gives you an example of how to down regulate your emotion. She says, let's imagine that we go to a bar and we see our crush. We get so excited about the possibility of talking to him or her that we end up consuming many more drinks than we had initially wanted. As a result, we might end up with a hangover the following morning. We might skip work and get in trouble for missing out on an important meeting. Thus, in this case, our unchecked excitement led to negative consequences. We've all been there and all done that, right? It would have been more adaptive for us to downregulate it. For example, we could have reminded ourselves of the potentially negative consequences of drinking too much alcohol on work nights. And we don't always think about that when it's happening because we get in the moment, we let our emotions run away with us, and then we don't think about the ramifications of what this could mean to us in the morning and what it can mean to other people in the morning. Like you got to be there at a certain time because you got people waiting on you for an important presentation. You don't show up. You got to show up at a certain time in the morning and you got to be there because you maybe have to meet an important friend or maybe even a client for breakfast. You don't show up or you're really late. These are just some fast examples. You have a ton of them in your life, I'm sure, as I do and as we all do. So now, what happens though if you try to downregulate or if you don't downregulate and the emotion goes on? How are we going to take care of that emotion long term? Here's what we're going to do. First, write the whole situation out in detail and please be specific. Specifics are important here when you're trying to express the whole situation because it helps to move and develop and create an alignment of your emotions and your energy that was happening during the whole situation. So you get more of, you start with a clear context about what happened and what went on. Then Name the specific motion you felt, name the specific emotion you felt at the time. Extremely important to name the emotion. What were you feeling? Fear, excitement, happiness, you were angry, you were mad, you were confused, whatever it was, don't matter. Name it. Put a label to the emotion you felt at the time. Then write out your emotions about the situation. What did you do? Why did you feel the way that you did? Then write out what you should do next time what you should do next time and why. Now, why is that important? It's important for a couple of reasons. If you write out solutions to your emotional situations, you will pre-frame your brain by giving it information and making it aware and conscious about what you're doing, why and how you're doing it. And when you get in that situation next time, don't do that. Instead, do this. So what happens is you give the brain the pre-frame that goes, okay, hey, we're not supposed to do it like this. I don't want to do it like this no more. Brain goes, okay, what do we do? And then you tell the brain, say, next time we're in a situation like this, I want to stay cool, calm, collective within my senses and recognize responsibilities that are around me and maybe be happening in the morning. And I want to be very conscious about that. And your brain will go, oh, okay, well, thank you for telling me that. Now I know exactly what it is that you want me to do. And then the brain won't be confused and the brain will simply go do it. That's the big takeaway from this is if you pre-frame your mind with what it is you want it to do and what you don't want it to do next time, your brain will automatically default in that situation to what you have programmed it to do next time in that situation. But you have to do the exercise and you have to stay with it, um, because it's vital that you give the brain what it needs in order to do what you want it to do, and your brain will work with you. Your brain will be your best friend if you allow it and give it the information that it needs and the directions and the step-by-step process, pretty much. Now, let's talk about the Personality Infusion Transformation course. Yes, that's actually the course that if you decide at the end of this webinar to move forward and actually come to a give me a phone call and schedule a phone call and come to the consultation, you and I will spend about 60 minutes together and we're going to talk about your dreams, where you're at, where you want to go, what you want to do, how are we going to get there that's best for you. Study the system, let the system incorporate and work with you. If you decide that my system or that even myself is not right for you, then we will just simply hang up and part friends and we'll both move on about our lives. If you decide, and if I decide that we're right for each other and that the course is right for you, then we'll talk about it at that time about moving forward and getting your transformation going. So, without further ado, I would like to give you a quick exploration into my Initiate Personality Infusion course. Again, no hard sell here because I do not do that. I don't believe in hard sells. I actually did hard sells though when I was younger. I was taught the old hammer in the nail bit. I hated it. And I just simply now absolutely refuse to do it in my business practice. If you and I are not in alignment with each other, and if my course is not in alignment with you, I don't want to work with you. You don't want to work with me. It's a frustrating situation and I'm not helping you. Better to go somewhere else. We both have to know that, what we want and can do for the other to be sure that I can assist you and that I'm assisting you in a way that feels good and that you're making your transformation. Um, One other thing that I feel is worth mentioning to you, um, is that if we do decide to work and move forward with you, I'll show you a box of goodies that you're going to get through the mail and exactly what they are. Now, This is going to be section 1, and there's 3 parts in section 1 to the course, and there's 3 different sections. Section 1, your game book for life. Now, this is your goal book. It's your game book. Imagine you're a coach and you're writing all of your plays down in your book, and you're figuring out which play worked, what play didn't work, what goal worked, what goal didn't work. Why didn't that goal work? Well, this happened. Oh, okay. What could you have done? You know, I could have done this, and I promise you, this is going to be weird. But I guarantee you, every time you write down why you're failing at doing a goal that you want, and you write it down, and you read it, and you ask, why am I failing at not achieving this goal? What seems to be the mental block? What's the problem? Another answer will come to you. It's like magic, but it happens if you do how I tell you to do and set up your game book. It will logically, mentally funnel your mind down to the answer that you're looking for. It's awesome, awesome stuff. That's why I include it. Now, right after that, we're going to do the reconfiguration of consciousness, and it does not sound as hard as what it sounds, trust me. But, or it's not as hard as it sounds, forgive me. Basically, the reconfiguration of consciousness, we call it the rock, okay? It takes you through your own belief system so you can find out what belief system is right for you and what belief system is not right for you. What belief system works, what belief system doesn't work, what's a limiting belief, what's your empowering belief. And it takes you all through that so we can identify them and know exactly what to do next. And and how to get rid of the ones that you choose to get rid of. Now, you also do, as a follow-up to the reconfiguration of consciousness, you do the letter to yourself. Now, the letter to yourself is just profoundly powerful. Every client has told me and raves about the power of the letter to yourself. However, the letter is written in a very specific step, in a very specific way. It's got a step by step by step process. And if you follow that, by the time you get to the end of the letter, you're going to be like, oh, my frustrations, agony, pain, suffering, all these things are gone because the letter works it out for you. It's very unique. Wait till you experience it. You'll see what I'm saying. It will blow your mind. Now, section 2, fears. We all live behind the wall of fears. So how do we destroy them and remove them from our minds and actions? Sometimes there are fears that you need to face, but you need the mental tools to face them. Sometimes there could be a fear that maybe you need to step around, and that's your way of facing it, but you still faced it. So there are a lot of ways that one can approach a fear and still work through the fear and create the result. There are times when you can just completely discreate or dissolve the fear completely and just get rid of it and complete your goal. We're going to find out what's best for you. Goals for the courageous life you desire and a system to hit them consistently. Now, goals for me for 30 years have always been paramount. They're absolutely essential. Goals help you to move forward and help you to create and to focus your attention on what you want to focus on and what you want to create on, instead of just leaving things willy-nilly in your life and whatever happens, happens, and you just kind of float away on a piece of driftwood out in the ocean, and wherever the current takes you is where you go. You don't have to be that way. Dead fish go with the flow. So think of it this way. Your goals are going to not only encourage you and be empowered by your long-term emotional control that we talked about, but that'll also make you more driven and motivated to accomplish your goals. And you'll have a step-by-step system on how to accomplish your goals. And when you can put all that together and discreate or dissolve your fears and your obstacles, you got a winning solution. You're going to move forward and you're going to hit your goals. Awakening exercises actually assist you too in your fears, in your emotional control and your goals, because there's 15 awakening exercises, and they pretty much all evolve around making you a larger conscious person of seeing what's going on around you, how it's affecting you and others, and getting a bigger picture of what's going on by being able to switch your viewpoints and explore One belief with a lot of the viewpoints, another belief with a lot of viewpoints, and be able to select the viewpoint that's best for your situation very quickly and move forward and take that massive action in order to achieve. And your mind will be in alignment with your body, and your mind won't be going one way and your body's trying to go the other way, and you're like two birds tied together. Even though they got four wings, they can't fly. You will gain that traction you need and move forward. Now, what's in section 3 of the course? Laws of creation. Laws of creation only mean this to me, and it's very simple. It means one thing: to start a goal, to start something new, to try to achieve something new. That's all it means to me. So, what I have done is taken the laws that I have found that works for me and the laws that I have found has worked for my clients and figured out the common denominators and put them together for you, and you can start your creations with these laws and follow them all the way through to their fruition for yourself and see them create. And along the way, you're probably going to experience some other laws that work very well for you and that you want to incorporate. Put them in there. Neurological handles. This is where you get back to being able to feel yourself, being able to feel alive within yourself, being able to like and to love and to appreciate yourself, being able to not be so hard on yourself and give yourself a more relaxed, loving, flowing feeling on the inside of you. So many people are feeling disconnected from themselves and they're feeling disconnected from life, and it's really hurting them. That doesn't need to be you. There's some very simple exercises that can recreate that alignment immediately. Now, detached mind. That's the last thing. Detached mind, in a quick explanation, is what is, is. Yes, it's a very stoic approach. However, when I adapted it, I was skeptical. Actually, I was kind of turned off by it, to be honest with you. But as I went through more experiences and read about it more, went through more experiences, read about it more, went through more and more and more and more and more experiences, and talked to a couple of mentors about it, I seen that when you take the approach to look at something as what is, you see it exactly where it's at, exactly what's going on, how it's going on, and it gives you the ability to make a quick creation of how you're going to deal with it without your emotions getting involved in how to deal with it. And so you create a logical and strategical process in what you're going to do, which greatly influences the outcome of the situation to your favor. And then, of course, you already know how to use your emotions now. So you attach them to the creation that you want to have the outcome happen and move right on through it and make that actually happen for yourself. So this was a very quick overlook of the course and of my consultation, and it was a very quick overlook, but you get the general idea of what's going on. I don't want to bore you with all of it right now because we'll have plenty of time to talk about that later when you actually go forward and schedule your free consultation. Your free consultation is free. Absolutely free. You owe nothing for anything. You and I will talk about 45 minutes to 60 minutes on the phone. We'll get to know each other. I want to hear about what you're looking for, what you want, where you've been, where you want to go, how you would like to get there if you could, your preferred method. And I'd like to hear what you consider might be some of your strengths, what might be some of your weaknesses, and what you would like to bring up and how you would like to bring it up from within yourself. And I'll tell you what I can do and see if it's in an alignment with you and I. And if it feels great, then we'll work together. If it doesn't feel great, then we don't. But we got to meet each other and listen to each other. And maybe I can even make a referral or something for you that might be a better alignment for you in this situation. Now, if you remember, um, I talked to you earlier about about making your consultation and what all you would receive if you made your consultation. And I'm just going to go over this real quick with you again to make sure that you got it. You get my free book, The Initiate Mental Black Belt Training. You receive a free 40-page color report pertaining to training. my free gift to you of my Mental Warrior Training course normally retails for $5.99. I'm going to give it to you. 2 Godiva chocolate bars, introduction DVD, and a special bonus, my other book, The Universal Psychology of the Law of Attraction, with its own training course inside. I normally teach it for about $3.95 on the weekends, but before you even go there, let me help you with something real quick and assist you on that thought. This is not in any way, shape, or form the normal law of attraction stuff you've heard from The Secret and all those guys who jumped on that bandwagon. Okay, it's not that at all. But it does deal with the law of attraction, but it teaches you how to actually do it and succeed at it, which is why I actually give you a little course inside of it to help get you into the understanding of the flow of what's required to do it and how to actually set it up. It's completely different, I promise you. You're going to find out. I guarantee that. Now, let's take a quick look at how the box actually looks and what it looks like when it comes to you after our consultation. There it is. Boom! Here's what the Mental Warrior Training information box looks like. Aha! I left a few things out because I wanted to save them for the visual effect for you so that you could actually see them on this page with everything laid out. Look up there. You get your own MWT shirt on the upper left-hand corner. You get your free. You also get a pair of workout pants. We call them crazy wear. And you get a red belt. See the little red thing folded in a knot right there below the pants, in between the pants and the box? That's your red belt. You start out as a red belt, and then you get your black belt once you progress through the course and you achieve you achieve the end of the course effect. And there's the box, and then of course you got your reports, you got both books, you got your letter of participation, you got your Into the Flow program. The Into the Flow and the Mental Warrior Training program, they're the same course. I just got it listed as a different name here, but I'm going to give you that, and that's something that you can do at your house also on your spare time, in between working with a course or some other time when you feel like you want to do it, and you can sit down. It gives you more helpful exercises and experiences and advice on what to do. And like I said, that's the book that I do $5.99 for on the weekends, and I'm just going to give it to you for free. So, with saying all that, and you looking and seeing all these wonderful things that you get in the mail, quit beating yourself up and living in pain and suffering, fears, and self-doubt. If you release your pain, your suffering will pass. Past relationships will stop. Regrets and remorse about opportunities you missed or wish you had back will stop. Hardships about things, finances, income opportunities will stop holding you back. Your self-doubts will quit telling you how you're not good enough and you cannot do anything right in life. You can quit the blame game and judging yourself and others, and let go of the past completely and move on empowered with your new mental skills and techniques and training on what to do and how to achieve and create what you want into your life. Now, my consultations do fill up quickly, so schedule yours now. I got a lot of people who want to work with me, and as my appointments come up, because someone graduates and they move on, I open that schedule up for somebody. So it's best to jump on right away, hit the consultation button you see below, make your consultation. It'll take you to a calendar. You just pick out the date and time that you want me to call you, and I will call you at that date and time only, not before, not after, on that date only. And then after you schedule your consultation with the calendar, you'll go to the next button that says questionnaire. You fill out that little questionnaire. It's not very long, it's not very hard, but it gives me a little information about you so I can get to know a little bit about you and see where you're at and what you're doing and where you're going or want to go. And that's very, very helpful to me. And then, of course, we talk about that when we get on the phone, along with some other questions I'll have that's not on this questionnaire, but will be on my questionnaire that I talk to you about over the phone. Now, having said all of that for you, make your consultation now. This is the closest time you're going to ever come to making your consultation and actually move forward and take that action and make your appointment. And that's what's going to begin right then, right here at that moment, your transformation. That's the defining moment. Making the consultation, filling out the questionnaire is the first defining moment. The second defining moment will be when I call you. Now we've initiated contact and we're experiencing each other. Third, huge, we decide if we want to work together. If we do, we do. If we don't, we don't. At least we're still friends and we walk away from the situation. Here are my requirements to work with you. And yes, I do have some requirements because I don't work with just anybody. Make the free call and have a mental warrior consultation with me, and let's see if we fit with each other. Do your assignments on time and turn them in on time if we agree to work together. And be absolutely committed to the process, to transforming yourself and become the next level person you've always wanted to become. You got to make that decision. You got to make that leap of faith within yourself. And you got to commit to the process. It's only 8 weeks, doesn't take very long. It's fast moving and you're having a lot of fun and discovering a whole lot of new cool stuff along the way with your transformation. Money back guarantee. I'm not asking you to buy anything, but I'm just letting you know at the end of the consultation, if we decide to work together and we do our 8 weeks together and you don't like it for whatever reason, period, just tell me you want your money back. You get your money back. Simple as that. No questions, no fuss, no muss, none of that good stuff. I absolutely 100% guarantee it, and I 100% guarantee I stand behind my 100% guarantee. Your link to all your free stuff for staying the length of the webinar will be immediately emailed to you for your downloads. Just open up the email from me. There's the links. Click them and download and enjoy them. And I appreciate you very, very, very much for listening once again to this webinar. I hope that you learned some very important things about emotions and goals and mindset. And maybe it piqued your curiosity enough that you're like, you know what? This might be just the thing for me. In order to figure out if it really is the thing for me, it's worth making a free phone call and filling out a few questions. What do you got to lose? Pick up, make the phone call, schedule your consultation, and let's talk. I promise, it's a no pressure situation. No pressure. So schedule your free consultation here. Schedule your consultation on my calendar. Fill out the small questionnaire and submit it. Be ready on time and day you schedule your appointment because I'll call you. We will fill out another little questionnaire when we talk. We'll spend about 45 to 60 minutes together. I will listen to your hopes, your dreams, your fears, see where I can help with your transformation. Believe me, as myself and thousands of students now know, the right training course and your 8-week transformation coach can achieve wonders for you. Hit the consultation button, see if we can work together. Don't walk away from yourself again. This is the closest you've been. Take that step. There's no obligation. It's free. Let's see if we connect and we can transform your life together. I'm Brady Cameron. Thank you for listening to my webinar. And remember, nothing in your life will happen until you make it happen.